Afternoon.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, after praising the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala and passing salutation upon his messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. Our brother Jazakallah Khairan from Saudi Arabia, he just come and brought us coffee, Arabian coffee, which is my favorite, and some dates, and he said any person is welcome to come and take some of that if he wishes. Some of you will be fasting today, some of you maybe not fasting. Whether you're fasting or not, you're welcome to take from the dates and the coffee which is there. But nobody approaches my own dates. Fine. That's why we see the turn up is not as many as last time, and I know that for the fact because of tomorrow is the day of Arafah. So I'll start with reminding myself and reminding the brothers, I don't know if their sisters as well, of the importance of those days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us to be alive during these days. It's a blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal to make us to live to these days and to witness these days and to strive as much as we can to maximize our ibadah in order to get the rewards and expiate the sins. Wallahi, it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, on the Prophet ﷺ, he said, there is no other time on which you could make good deeds as these days. So any ibadah that you do during any day, it cannot be better than the ibadah that you do during these first 10 days. Whether it is fasting, whether it is charity, whether it is salah, whether it is takbir, they are the best of all days. They include 2 days, the day of Arafah and the day of Al-Adha. And there is a dispute amongst the scholars which is better, the day of Al-Adha or the day of Arafah. Some scholars, they say the day of Arafah is better. Some of them, they say the day of Al-Adha is better. Had it been for the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أعظم الأيام عند الله يوم النحر, the best of all days in the sight of Allah is the day of Al-Adha. We would have said the day of Arafah, because the day of Arafah is a special day. It's so many specialty makes it compete with the day of Al-Adha. Tomorrow, as we know, is going to be the day of Arafah. Now tonight is the night precedes Arafah, but Arafah does not start until tomorrow. And note for something maybe you never heard in your life before. Ashiyatu Arafah, the night of Arafah, is after Arafah. Always the nights precede the day. So the night of Arafah is tomorrow. It is not the night before. And that is why any person who caught up Arafah before the Fajr of the day of the Eid, he caught up the Hajj. Just any part of the night. So when the Prophet of Allah, he said, خَيْرُ مَا قُلْتُ أَنَا وَالنَّبِيُّونَ عَشِيَّةَ عَرَفَةَ, the best thing that I have said, me or the prophets who made Hajj during the night of Arafah, عَشِيَّةَ عَرَفَةَ, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ وَلَهُ الْحَمْدُ وَعَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Scholars, they said, Ashiyya means the day and the night is after Arafah. The night is after Arafah, whereas we know that the night's in every day, night of the Eid, before the Eid. So some of the scholars, in order to arbitrate between the excellence of the day of Arafah and the excellence of the day of Al-Adha, they said, because the night of Arafah is after Arafah, it extends to the day of Eid. Because it extends to the day of the Eid. That's why they are interwoven together. They are intertwined. And the day of Arafah is a day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it to be in so many occasions. First of all, Allah, He makes a testimony, a testifying with it, an oath with it, twice in the Quran. وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ, by the witnessing and the witness day. What is the witnessing and witness day? Ibn Abbas, he said, Jumu'ah and the day of Arafah. Witness day, witnessed by the angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالشَّفْعِ وَالْوَتْرِ, or wal-witr, by the even and the odd. What is the even and the odd? Ibn Abbas, he said, the day of Adha, and the odd, the ninth, is the day of Arafah. SubhanAllah. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he spoke to Musa alayhi salam directly, without an interpreter, on the day of Arafah. وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 30 لَيْلَةً وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ. Put to the brother a sutra in front of him. Put in front of him, because he's praying, put a sutra in front of him. He's praying to the middle of the masjid. So, put a chair, yes, Jazakallah. Yeah, just a chair, yeah, or this. So, the day of Arafah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends down a descendance which is suitable to His Majesty. And that is to boast before the angels about His slaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. He said, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Behold, when Allah said to the angels, I'm going to make a Khalifa, generations from this descendants of this creature to govern the earth. Not a representative as people think. No, Khalifa means someone to govern the earth, someone, a generation to inherit the earth. They said, are you going to make someone create something that will spill blood and spread mischief in the land? Because they've seen what the jinn have done before. وَالْجَانُ خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Allah said, وَالْجَانُ لِلْجِنِّ before, aforetime. He said to them, I know what you don't know. This is what they don't know. Every day of Arafah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds the angels of what they said. What you said before, you're wrong. These are the descendants of that creature whom I created, whom you have said is going to spill blood and spread mischief in the land. Here he is, and his descendants he is. There are all of them coming, seeking my mercy. Uncombed hair, and with faces covered with dust. This is the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say to them, behold, if their sins is to be as many as the particles of the sand, or as many as the drop of the rain, and as many or as much as the foam of the sea, I've forgiven them all, and for whom they have interceded as well. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had set free people of the hellfire in Arafah more than Ramadan. There is no other day on which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would set people free from the fire more than He does on the day of Arafah, even more than Ramadan. In Ramadan, every day, the day of Arafah more than Ramadan. That's why the scholars, they said, which one is better, the last 10 nights of Ramadan or the first 10 days of Hijjah? First 10 days of Hijjah, better. Just because the night of Al-Qadr, that night in itself. So they said maybe the worship during the nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan is better. And that's controversial. Because Allah's Messenger, he said, مَا مِنْ أَيَّامٍ الْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ فِيهَا أَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأَيَّامِ. مَا مِنْ أَيَّامٍ. Whether it is the last 10 nights of Ramadan or the night of Al-Qadr, and that's a clear cut. He didn't say, مَا مِنْ أَيَّامٍ. There's no better days than the last 10 nights of Ramadan. He didn't say that. He used to make i'tikaf, last 10 nights of Ramadan. He used to speak dhikr, he used to recite Quran, he used to seek the night of Al-Qadr, but he never said that they are the best of the nights. These days, they are the best of days. Days of takbir, days of siyam. You make siyam as well. Take of zakat, pay zakat, day of sadaqah. All of those acts, you do them with the intention that you want to maximize the reward. Your reward will be doubled, multiplied. Why? Because of these days. The day of Arafah, the day that Allah chose to be the completion of the religion. Tariq ibn Shihab, he says, a Jewish man came to the leader of the believers. His name, Ka'b ibn Mata. Jewish rabbi, embraced Islam at the time of the reign of the Khilafah of Umar. He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, this is when the Jews, they want to respect the Muslim leaders. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, ayatun fi kitabikum taqra'unaha. a verse in your book. It's not his book yet. In your book. It's not our book. It's not the Torah. Your book, the Quran. تقرؤونها, you recite it. لو أنزلت علينا معشر اليهود لاتخذنا يومها عيدا. If this refers to be revealed to us, the Jews would have taken the day upon which it was revealed as a celebration day. Subhanallah. So which verse? He said, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Today, I have completed for you your religion. This is your religion. And I accomplished for you my favors upon you. And I chose Islam to be your religion. Subhanallah. If you think about it, how is this Jewish man had arrived to this verse? Did you pray, brother? 2 rak'ah, yes? You prayed. Sit down. Barakallah feek. He had to read Fatiha, Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, An-Nisa, first verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah, second verse, third verse, the beginning, and then halfway, then you would read after this. He read all of that to come to this verse. Whereas Muslims, they don't really even recite anything. And he took it from his memory. That's why he embraced Islam, because he knew that this is Islam, deen of the haqq. These are the words that should be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Umar said, Wallahi, I remember the day and the place where it was revealed. It was on the day of Jumu'ah, and it was on the day of Arafah. And the Prophet of Allah was in Arafah. And the Prophet of Allah was never in Arafah on the day of Arafah except in Hajj, Hajjat al-Wada'. Farewell Hajj. He was in Arafah on the day of Arafah. Because there is nothing there in Arafah to do, by the way, other than the day of Arafah. It's not, for example, a tourist place. There's nothing there. Even Mina, it's closed, nothing. Even Masjid al-Khif, where 70 prophets have prayed there. It will be locked until the season of the Hajj. Just the day of the Hajj, that's when the whole site of Hajj will open. So it is the day we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends down. It is the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made an oath with. It's the day that Allah Azza wa Jalla spoke to Musa alayhi salam. It's the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had completed his religion. It's the day of the takbir, ya ikhwan. It's the day that Allah sets people in the hellfire. It's the day that, a day that should not be wasted. Fasting the day of Arafah would expiate what? 2 years. A year in the past, a year in the future. It doesn't mean, alhamdulillah, I have fasted the day of Arafah tomorrow, so I could really have another year to sin. Let me sin as much as I can because I have forgiven. No. This is unintentional sins. It's not really a sin that you're prepared to do it. You're bound to make a sin regardless of what. So that could be included in the what? The forgiveness of the day? Arafah. Wallahi, what a chance for us. Tomorrow, everybody wants to encourage his family to fast the day of Arafah. If you are a traveler, if you are ill, don't worry about it. If you've been fasting Arafah before, it will be recorded for you even if you haven't fasted it. Alhamdulillah. Best profitable businesses with Almighty Azza wa Jalla. Nobody else. Intention will be recorded like you've done it. Because you can't do it because of traveling, because you're ill, don't worry about it. If you are old, you can't do it anymore. But when you were youth, you used to do it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give it to you. Subhanallah. All these days, they come before the day of Al-Hajj al-Akbar. The day of Al-Adha. The day of Al-Ajj wa Thajj, Takbir, Thajj, slaughtering. The day where most of the rituals of the Hajj will be done. Tawaf al-Ifada, Sa'i al-Ifada, shaving, slaughtering, throwing the stones. 5 pillars of the Hajj will be done in the day of Hajj. 5 obligatories will be done on the day of Hajj. Listen to this hadith, which sums up for you the mighty rewards that you could get during these days. And no way you can make Hajj except in these days. You cannot choose days of Ramadan to make Hajj. The Hajj should be the Hajj season. And you can't make Hajj as well other than the Hajj side. You can't make Hajj somewhere else. Just reminded me of a joke, which is a true joke. One of the people who belong to an ex-ZY country, because I don't want to say the country, people will be sort of, why are you talking about us? This guy is a simple man, and the camera person, he's with him, and he's asking him, how is the Hajj season? It is a Saudi Arabian sort of channel. And he's asking this person, what do you think is the Hajj? He says, Wallahi, it is the best Hajj. Anybody who wants to make Hajj, he has to make Hajjs here. So you think there is Hajj somewhere else? Best of Hajj is here. Come to make Hajj in Saudi Arabia. Nobody, you know what else. Here we have a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ was sitting in the Masjid al-Khif. in the days of Mina. As I said, Masjid al-Khif is only for the seasons of the Hajj, nobody else. And even the Imam, who could be from Mecca itself, would offer the Dhuhr and the Asr and the Isha 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah. He will not do 4 rak'ah because it's the Salah of the Mina. Salat al-Mina, qasr, biduni jam', shortening without combining. So you pray 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah. Of course, the Maghrib and the Fajr say the same. So listen to this, because as I said to you, that in these days, why they are important. 2 people come, one from the Ansar and one from Bani Thaqif. Thaqif is from the Makkiyans, Ta'if is close to Makkah. The Ansar is from the Medina. They come to the Prophet of Allah. They want to ask him, each one has got his own question. So the Prophet of Allah, before they uttered a word, he said, if you wish, I will tell you what you came to ask about. And if you wish, I'll hold, and you tell me what you want to ask. He said, Messenger of Allah, we want you to tell us what we came to ask you about. That's a miracle. So the Prophet will have been informed what these 2 gentlemen came to ask the Prophet about. So now comes the Ithar, giving preference. So the Ansari, always generous, says to his brother Thaqif, you start first. The Thaqafi, he said, no. You always offer us, you always give us preference. You're going to ask first. So the Ansari asked. Messenger of Allah, tell me what I came to ask about. What is it? So the Prophet of Allah, he said, you came to ask me about the following. Count with me 8. You came to ask me about what is your reward if you towards the Kaaba. Once you mount, what you get as a reward. And I have to, brothers, can you just switch off your mics? I don't have a host. Switch off your mics, please. I'm talking to the ones on Zoom. So he said, you came to ask about what is in it for you once you mount your camel and you head towards the Kaaba. Can I ask you, please, Ahmed, just to keep admitting everybody in the room? And the second issue, that is, when you make the Quran after the Tawaf. And when you make the sacrifice, or when you stand in Arafah, and what you get involved in there. And when you slaughter your animal, and when you throw your jamarat, and when you shave your head, and when you make tawaf al-ifadah. 8. What is it in it for you? Should wallahi, by the one who sent you the truth, I came to ask about these things. That's prophecy. Prophecy can be. Prophet told him about all these 8 things that he came to ask about. In one question. What is my reward if I do this? He said to him, as for you mounting your mount, heading towards the Kaaba, or every step that your camel does, you get a hasana, will be recorded, and a sin will be wiped off. Now, don't worry if you're going by train, plane, whatever it is, it will be transferred into the right measurement. You don't have to go with that camel. As for your 2 rak'ah after the tawaf is equivalent of setting free 10 slaves from the son of Ismail. And these are very expensive. Son of Ismail's slaves are very expensive. And you don't have slaves to set free these days. But you will be having the equivalence of all of that. And as for your tawaf between Safa and Marwa, it's like freeing 70 slaves, normal slaves. And as for your standing in Arafah, I'll do it here because it's going to be, yeah, late. As for your standing in Arafah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends and he will boast about his slaves before his angels. Look at my slaves coming from far and near with uncombed hair, disheveled hair, with faces covered with dust. Verily, they came to ask for my forgiveness. If their sins is to be as many as the particles of the sand, or the drops of the rain, or the foam of the sea, I have forgiven them all, and for those whom we have interceded for. As for your throwing the jamarat, for every jamara you throw, there is a major sin will be forgiven. Allahu Akbar. Jamarat, every jamara, major sin will be gone. As for your slaughtering, it will be saved for you with your Lord. فَهِيَ مُدَّخَرْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. As for your shaving of the head, for every single hair you shave, hasana will be granted, sayyi'ah will be removed. Some baldy men now will be saying, what about me? I'm bald head. No hair. Allah subhanahu will give you. So you don't have to worry about that. Start planting the hair because you want to get that. Allah will give you. And as for you, which is the last one, doing tawaf al-ifadah, you will make tawaf sinless. An angel will come. Listen, an angel will come. He will put his hands between his shoulders and he would say, "I'mal fima istaqbalt." Go and do. Your meter has been reset. Zero. Your mother giving birth to you. Allah understand. So please, brothers, do not unmute yourself. I'm going to just don't allow them. So it's like your meter has been resetted, or everything in the past has been forgiven. And that's the hadith. فَقَدْ غُفِرَ لَكَ مَا قَدْ مَضَى. Allahu Akbar. This mighty hadith can only take place during these days. Now, after explaining to you the merits and the excellence of these days, day of Arafah, day of Al-Adha, we need to make sure to understand that we could really maximize our, inshallah, hasanat. First of all, if you are a person who is capable of producing your own provision for your family, and you have extra money, then save this extra money for the udhiyah. Udhiyah must be compulsory upon you. Compulsory in two cases. If you are poor and you made a vow, it becomes compulsory. Or if you have money, so if you made a vow, it becomes compulsory. Or if you are rich, مَنْ كَانَ ذَا سَعَةٍ فَلَمْ يُضَحِّ فَلَا يَقْرَبَنَّ مُصَلَّى. Hadith number 1. If you did not produce an udhiyah and you have enough surplus to give and produce the udhiyah, don't approach my musalla. Don't come and pray with us. Number 2. على كل أهل بيت في كل عام أضحية. Each family, they have to produce an udhiyah in every year. 2 hadith, which is authentic. So the udhiyah is compulsory. So if you have a sacrificial which is compulsory, you as the head of the family, you need to abstain from cutting the nails and cutting the hair from anywhere, and also peeling off the skin. From the moment Dhul Hijjah starts, إذا هل هلال ذي الحجة, until you slaughter your animal. So if your animal is going to be slaughtered in a different country, you have to keep calling them. Have you slaughtered it? Yes, okay, then I'll cut. I can't cut my nails or cut the hair from anywhere or peel off the skin. It's only for the head of the family. You know what's it mean, the head of the family? So let's say the husband and the father, husband and the mother, which is the wife and the children. Only the husband is the one who's abstained, not the wife, not the children. And if it became to you compulsory, let's say, for example, you were poor, but today, mashallah, you inherited lots of money. You became rich. So it becomes compulsory from you up till now. You start to abstain from cutting the nails. Whether it's the nails from the top or the nails of the toe. And also the hair, whether it's the beard or the hair of the head or the hair between your underarms or between your legs. All of that is not allowed. And peeling off the skin. So circumcision is not allowed during these days because peeling off the skin. Let's now, alhamdulillah, understand that this is compulsory upon us. If you had, by any chance, cut off your nail, cut off your hair, and you've forgotten, or you've done a mistake, you didn't know, don't worry about your udhiyah, even if you did it deliberately. You'll be sinned. But your udhiyah will be what? Valid. It's not going to touch you. But I cannot understand a person who wants to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, and he knows it's haram to cut the nail, and yet I'm going to cut the nail, but if I'm going to slaughter the udhiyah, well, I mean, it doesn't work. But I'm just saying, if it does not invalidate your udhiyah. Alhamdulillah. Coming to the day of the Eid. Are you going to be doing the Eid here or in a park? In this place? You're going to be doing here. So you're going to be in lots of jama'at, isn't it? How many? 10? 5? 5 jama'at? Yeah. Somebody laughed because knows I'm making a joke. Actually, I'm making a joke because the Eid al-Adha is, or the Eid al-Fitr the salah is to be sunnah fil musalla. Is to make it in the musalla, even in the haram of the Mecca, in the musalla. Prophet ﷺ used to leave the haram of Medina and make the salah outside the haram of Medina. Everybody can come in one plane, not in a masjid where the walls can separate. Everybody can see everybody. Great day, ya Akhwani. Great impact. If you see the Salat al-Eid, for example, what they've done in Russia, walk in the streets, talking about 1 million, 2 million. In the streets, as the camera gets tired traveling by plane just to see the end of it. Wallahi. When you see it, you see that all these Muslims in Russia. Very nice. In Birmingham, they've done it. And they had, at the beginning, 30,000. And second one, 80,000. In one place in Birmingham. Where was in charge of it is the Masjid of Small Heath. Masjid, what's it called? Green Lane Masjid. I forgot. Green Lane Masjid. So, coming back now to the Salat al-Eid. First of all, you need to know, Salat al-Eid is compulsory upon the males, adults, compulsory on the females, adults. It is recommended for the children. Even females who cannot pray due to their menstruation. They have to come. Hadith Um'atih, Amarana Rasulullah Sallallahu. Prophet of Allah had commanded us, في يوم العيدين, on the 2 Eid days, أن نخرج, to bring out with us, العواتق والحيض والمخبأ والبكر. All of those women, regardless what status they are, including al-huyyad, al-mukhabba, the hidden one, no hidden one anymore. The one who's never seen anything, just come out the Eid and come back, and that's it. Is there something like this existing? I don't think so. They just come out, khabba. Without al-khudur, Allahu Akbar. They just in the khidr, to pray in the khidr, that's it. She doesn't even leave to her majlis, living room. Harder to find these days. It just reminds me of something that these days, you know, the brother who wants to see the sister, now the sister says, no, I want to see him, I want to grill him. She was to test him. So the brother is shy and the girl, she's stronger on him. Coming back. Salatul Eid al-Fitr, the sunnah is that once you come out, before you eat dates. Because to break your habit of fasting. If you can't find the dates, break it with water, doesn't matter. And if you eat the dates, there's a sunnah as well, that to eat them witr. It's only one occasion to eat them witr. In any other day, now when I'm eating dates, I don't have to count. 1, 3, 5. No, that's too much. It's a headache. But during the Eid al-Fitr, yes, odd. This is fitnah, mashallah. When you go to the Eid al-Fitr or the Eid al-Adha, as for Eid al-Adha, you don't eat until you come back if your udhiyah is within the reasonable time. So if you have an udhiyah, to eat from your udhiyah. That's the sunnah. But if your udhiyah is going to be the following day, you're going to be hungry until the following day. For the Eid, you prepare yourself, the best of clothes. So if you've got new clothes, get the new clothes. The best of perfume. And also ghusl. Ghusl Jum'ah is compulsory, but the ghusl of the Eid is recommended. When does it start? The best thing is after Fajr prayer. Once you finish your Fajr prayer, you make ghusl al-Eid for the Eid. Can I make it earlier? You can make it earlier. When now he says, don't precede the midnight, because it will come differently after midnight. But the best thing is to do it after Fajr. You make the ghusl and you head towards the Salah. Takbir. Eid al-Fitr starts from the moment you leave the house. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Takbir. And it finishes when the Imam stands up on the pulpit. Eid al-Adha is different. It starts from the first day we have sighted the moon of Dhul Hijjah, general takbir. And will be emphasized takbir muqayyad, which is from tomorrow, Fajr. This will start Fajr Yawm Arafah. And will end up by the last day of Tashriq. Is it Asr or Maghrib? Controversial. The best opinion, Maghrib. So you got the day of Arafah, the day of Al-Adha, the 3 days of Tashriq. We said 5 days, which is Takbir. We will take Takbir. And the Takbir is in general, but there is one simple one from Salman. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Kabir. That's it. Repeat that. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Kabir. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Kabir. Second one from Abdullah ibn Abbas. Allahu Akbar, Kabir, Allahu Akbar, Kabir, Allahu Akbar, wa Jal, Allahu Akbar, Lillahi al-Hamd. That's it. Allahu Akbar, Kabir, Allahu Akbar, Kabir, Allahu Akbar, wa Jal, Allahu Akbar, Lillahi al-Hamd. Last one, the one which you know, the long one, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, even though it's not authentic, but it's an easy going for this takbir. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. That's the takbirs. You make takbir as much as you can. In the Eid al-Fitr, you finish by the Imam when he stands up on the pulpit, well, not the pulpit, when he stands up for making Salat al-Eid. There's no pulpit. Salat al-Eid, it has no adhan, no iqama, no even specific call. Like Salatu Jami'ah. This is Salatu Jami'ah is only for prayers which were not being basically appointed. Prayers which has been set like for example, sudden prayer comes, like we have a kusuf, sun eclipse. So once you see the sun eclipse, as-salatu jami'ah, as-salatu jami'ah. But these days, even as-salatu jami'ah, for the eclipse, we don't do it. Do you know why? Because we know the eclipse, we know it by the second. So we are already waiting the masjid. So there's no such thing. As-salatu jami'ah. We are here, brother. Don't know what you call it for. We are here waiting for the salah. Just say Allah. Salatu jami'ah, because at that time there was nobody knows when the kusuf takes place. They see the kusuf, they don't have calculation. They see it, oh, kusuf, as-salatu jami'ah, they call. Like emergency, come and pray. These days we don't need that. For the Eid, we are prepared. We know what we're going to be coming to that time of the Eid, the Salah. Like Salatul Eid, Al-Fitr al-Adha, regarding the time, it's between the two prohibited times. Prohibited time, which is after sunrise, and prohibited time, which is before Dhuhr. After Fajr, after sunrise, which is, we call it, the sun is rising. How much? Ar-Rumh, spear length. How much is that? 1 meter above the horizon. Minutes, akhi. Make it easy for us. 10 minutes to 12 minutes. To be sure, make it 15. As Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, make it 15 minutes. Some other scholars even a bit more. But 10 to 12 minutes, normally the sun will rise about 1 meter above the horizon. Once that had happened, the time starts. You can pray the Eid. When does it finish? You could extend it as much as you want up to the prohibited time before Dhuhr, which is the first 15 minutes before Dhuhr time. Okay? So between that time, you could offer Salat al-Eid. Mu'awiyah ibn Sufyan, he offers Salat al-Eid well after the sun is risen. 2 hours, 3 hours. It was a day of Jumu'ah. Coming back. What is the sunnah to do it? Well, Eid al-Fitr, to delay it. Eid al-Adha, to bring it early. Why is that? For the day of al-Fitr, to give more time for the people to give sadaqah al-Fitr. So we delay it reasonably. And also Eid al-Adha, we bring it forward to extend the time of slaughtering. Because you cannot slaughter before Salat al-Eid, it's slaughter after. When we start the prayer to Salat al-Eid is 2 rak'ah. Each rak'ah is exactly like the normal rak'ah, except there's an extra takbir. So everything that you do in the salah is exactly the 2 rak'ahs. It's like 2 rak'ah nafil. But there is extra takbirs. How much? How many takbirs? Controversial. There's 12 opinions, 12 sayings regarding this issue. Wallahi, there's 12. So let's just go to the one that we think that is the correct one. Because you go to the Hanafis by 3, you know that. Some of them, they do 5 and 5. Some of them do 4 and 4. Some of them do it before the qira'ah and after the recitation, before the ruku'. Correct opinion, Takbir al-Haram, then 7 takbirs. So it is beside the Takbir al-Haram. Some scholars say no, 7 takbirs include the Takbir al-Haram. But the hadith which is clear, Takbir al-Haram, then 7 takbirs. When you do the second rak'ah, after you say Allahu Akbar for getting up, you say 5 takbirs. So how do I start the Salat al-Eid? Like this. The Imam will line up the people, give them some sort of brief regarding about Salat al-Eid, how to pray, and reminds them of those things which are wrong. Like, for example, raising up the voice in the takbir. I don't know what the people they do when they raise up the voice of the takbir. I know that for a fact because I lead the prayer in every Eid. And I know that before I start, I tell the people, brothers behind me, when I make Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, please don't say Allahu Akbar. We're not going to jihad, we're not fighting here. So do takbir silently with your mouth. That's it. Maybe Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Wrong message he was sending. So Allahu Akbar, that's where they take up the hands with consensus. Allahu Akbar. Then I put my right on the left. Then I start with Dua al-Istiftah. Whether the short one, which is recommended now at this time, don't make it long, or Wajjahtu Fadar as-Samad, which is the longer one. So Dua al-Istiftah, and then after that, Takbirat. So the Imam will say, Allahu Akbar. Would you raise up his hands? Controversial. Correct opinion, it is not being narrated to raise up the hand. But if you did, no problem. But the Prophet Allah, there was no narration that he raised up the hands. So he would say Allahu Akbar, and you say Allah. And then you say Allahu Akbar, say Allah. Allahu Akbar, 7 takbirat. Do I say between the takbirat any dua? Yes. You are as well, if you wish, to say Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. It's two narration we mentioned, to praise Allah. Second one, to pass salutation upon the Prophet. So Allahu Akbar, you say Allah. Even the Imam will do the same thing. What about if I forgot the takbirat? I'm an Imam, I did not make the takbirat. You know, sometimes if it's a newcomer to the Eid, or maybe he was so busy, or maybe he was not concentrating, focused. And it happens, by the way. He would say Allahu Akbar, and then he started Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Did you pray? We have somebody like this? Anybody? Yes? Yes? Yeah. It does happen. Human being. What should I do? The Imam should, after Salah, make two sajda of sahw. That's it. Doesn't work. What about if he's forgotten? He's counting now. Allahu Akbar, 1. Allahu Akbar, 5. What? Allahu Akbar, 2. What? He forgot now. So he's in his head, forgot, because he's under pressure. When I lead the prayer, I do the takbir and I press with my fingers like this. Allahu Akbar, say 1. Allahu Akbar. No, on my hand. I don't do like this. Just press with my hand. Allahu Akbar. So I know it. So if I don't do that, I might forget the number. So I make 7 takbir. Alhamdulillah, I never make mistake. But anybody make mistakes. So the takbirat al-Eid, if he forgotten, did I do 2 or 3? You're 100% 2, you've done it. But you're not sure about the third one. Don't drop the one you're not sure of and build upon the what you're sure of. You know you're 100% you've done 2, but you're not sure you've done the third or not. So drop that third one. Forget about it because you're not sure of it. So even after the prayer, somebody told you, you made 8 takbirs. It doesn't matter. There's no sujood sahw because it's finished. The prayer is finished now. Do I do sujood sahw after that? That's it's up to you if you want to do it or not. We're going to ask you, why did you do sujood sahw? I mean, I've done a mistake because I had a doubt. Fine. Coming now after the takbirat, isti'adha. A'udhu billahi as-sami' al-alim min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Do I make isti'adha even if I'm a person behind the Imam? Yes. I make isti'adha and wait for his qira'ah. Then he will start Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Fatiha. Then he will start, normally it is the case, Surah Al-A'la. Then ruku' sujood, then Allahu Akbar for second rak'ah. He will do the same thing. There's no dua al-istiftah. He will start with the takbirat, 5 takbirat, then al-Fatiha, then after that, Surah Al-Ghashiyah. You could do Surah Al-Qamar and Surah Al-Qaf, but normally the Imams will not do such a thing because the people, they might not really digest it properly. It's too long for them. Okay. So you want to end up with people saying, smile to you, not say, what is this Imam? Unless you've been training them, alhamdulillah. But you know that in the Eid prayer, all people come. Even those people who never had prayer. So you want to encourage them to come to the second prayer. Don't make it long for them. Make it encourageable for you. Right, when we finish, alhamdulillah, Salat al-Eid, after that, it is recommended for you to sit down for khutbah al-Eid. Sit down what? Khutbah al-Eid. It is not compulsory as a Jumu'ah. And if you want to go, please make it as quietly as possible. Sit down at the back, never mind, don't sit in the front of the imam, start jumping. Because if you do that, I think people will be upset. Khutbah al-Eid is one khutbah. What do you mean one khutbah? That means it's not really to sit down like the Jumu'ah in the middle and then start. It's one khutbah, one go. The khatib is not supposed to be long. Khutbah al-Eid needs to be khutbah, but it's not really half an hour, an hour. That's not from the Sunnah. People, they want to as well to go to their things they want to do. But the imam, we would choose those things which are important. Don't make it the 6 o'clock news. Okay, don't make it the 6 o'clock news. Hey, we're not really gonna, what is the member of parliament have done? What is this parliament have done? And the rise in the price of the cucumber, or the lack of tomatoes. We don't really want to do that now. We want to know what to remind people of the akhirah, ikhwani. The gas price has gone up, ikhwani. What am I going to do with this information? Tell me about something about the deen. طيب, alhamdulillah. Finish the khutbah. After the khutbah, people will congratulate one another with what the Salaf used to do. تقبل الله منا ومنكم. You could say even the normal عيدك مبارك عساك من عواده, and all these, inshallah, good things. No problem, inshallah. And no problem if you haven't seen your brother, to hug him and all of that, because you are really, some people cry. Okay, this is that shows the civilization of the Muslims, how civilized we are. Our Eid is to express our gratitude to what? The Almighty. Their Eid, any Eid, their Eid, non-Muslim Eid, what do? They call it the booze, huh? End up with a black eye following day, huh? That's how they celebrate it, true or not. And they say, what do they say? Did they express their gratitude to Allah? Oh, get drunk and get drunk. We're Muslims, we celebrate it with showing that we are happy, rejoicing in the Eid, putting the best of clothes, best of perfume, best of words, Allahu Akbar. All of the Eid is Allahu Akbar. Nonsense, we don't do that nonsense. Don't linger around graveyards. That's not correct. Some people, instead of going to Salat al-Eid, they go to the graveyards. The people who are dead are not waiting for you to give them halwa. Wallahi, I used to go when I was a kid to the graveyard. My mother used to take me there. So bid'ah so much. They put big, massive, you know, there would be before massive recorders, like in my time, massive recorders. And they bring Abdul Basit. And they put it on the top of the grave, and Abdul Basit, and nobody's listening anyway. And then they bring, I used to love it when I was a kid, because they bring to Turkish halwa. I never seen it, only in the graveyard. So I used to go just for the Turkish halwa. Arafah, نسميها بالعربي, Raha asli. And put sugar on it, the kids love sugar. I used to love, I never forgot that. So I used to go there, I never seen Eid prayer, ever. Never knew about this Salat Eid. I know that the Eid is what? Lingering around the graves, going to the graveyard. You used to do it as well in Pakistan? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Eid is to express your gratitude to Allah, and also give some space for your family. For your family to enjoy, to give money to them, give them gifts, let them enjoy themselves. It's for you, for Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet of Allah, even she was young. The Prophet of Allah, he had made like an opportunity for a circus to take place, not the haram circus, the halal circus. To take place in the masjid. The people who are from Ethiopia came, كانوا يلعبون بالضرب. You know, the acrobatics, they throw things and up and down. So when they come, you know, they make a show. It's a show. So the Prophet led them to make the show inside the masjid. And Aisha, being, you know, young, she's keen to look. So she used to look behind from the shoulder of the Prophet. So she's her hand and her chin next to the face of the Prophet, watching, and she's hiding herself behind the Prophet, looking. And remember, her room as well, looking into the masjid. And Prophet of Allah, enough? He said, no, Prophet. Aisha, she says it's not just because of watching. She wants to have her chin next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not enough. She keeps watching. And Allah's Messenger had made it permissible for us to listen to the duf and strike the duf on that occasion, the day of Eid. The two occasions that you're allowed to make the duf, Eid and weddings. So in the Eid, duf, al-istima'u lid-duf, with tambourine, yeah, tambourine but without the bangles, just the tambourine. And with nasheed, mashallah, why not? I mean, it's not really correct to go, yalla akhwana, to the Eid celebrate. Qala Allah, qala Rasul. Don't talk to me. I'm Quran. It's not correct. It's a day of celebration. Let go of yourself. Loosen up. Halal way, of course. Halal way. Loosen up, not haram way. Halal way. Make the children happy with you. Make them feel that it's Eid. So why don't you take them as well to funfair? Halal funfair. I like those people who are in the masajid arrange for a funfair in their musalla. Their children will be looking forward the following year to come to the what? Salat. They will be looking forward. Don't say it's naive. Naive for you. You're a big, what do you think the child is going to be created with a big mind like yours? He's a child. He's going to grow up as a child. He wants to play. And I don't like this mentality that the brothers or they expect the children to think like them. They're children. They're children. They want to play. Give them the opportunity. Let them laugh. Let them smile. Let them be happy. Give them money. Let them go and buy. Halal. Of course, halal. Alhamdulillah. Fine. Finishing the Eid, we're coming now to a person who had come and he finished Salat late. He did not catch up. He prays wherever it's home because he came, he wanted to pray the Salat Eid. He couldn't really come on time. Something had happened, he's overslept. He prays Salat Eid exactly as it is at home. No problem. You came in the second rak'ah. You missed the rak'ah. What do I do? You know, normally when you catch up the rak'ah, this rak'ah counts for you the beginning of your prayer. So when he is in the second rak'ah, you are in your first rak'ah, he's going to make how many takbir? 5. And you're supposed to make how many? Do I make 7 or 5? 5. Even you're supposed to make 7. It's just like coming into the Maghrib prayer. And you are coming into the third rak'ah. It's considered for you when you what? First rak'ah. And first rak'ah in the Maghrib, is it loud or silent? Loud. Behind the Imam, do you read loud or you read silent? Silent, it can't be loud. So you follow the Imam. Same thing, he would do the 5. So you do 5 because he's doing 5. So in your second rak'ah, you do as well what? 5 as well. طيب. Finish, alhamdulillah, we come into Eid al-Adha. Udhiyah, sacrificial. Sacrificial is to be done from these categories. Camels and the lights. You know there's camels and the lights because in some countries they have different shape of camels. Okay? Huh? I have seen camels in the South American, they spit on people. See them? Yeah. They're la clama, yeah. They spit on the people, subhanAllah. Subhanallah. So, yeah, I call them spitting animals. So the camels are alike. The cows are alike like buffaloes. Buffaloes are the same as cows. And the goats and sheep was white. Those are the animals that are called behemoth lana. You're not allowed to do it in rabbits or chicken or horses. It's more expensive. It's not allowed in these things. And these things as well attached to age-wise. So when you go to a slaughtering person, jazzar, butcher, make sure that you trust him. He knows what he's doing. Because it's not just to do with the meat, how big it is. A week ago, I had a question from Egypt from a brother who sent me a question. He said that there is a fatwa going around that it's allowed to slaughter the cow smaller than 2 years, but because she weighs 200 kilos. And I know this is a fatwa from Egypt. Is that correct? No, it's not correct. It's haram. It will not be permissible. It will not be valid. Because the Prophet said, لا تذبحوا إلا مسنة. Do not slaughter except something called musinna. Musinna is not jara'. What is Jada'? What is Musinna? Jada' in each animal differs in terms of age-wise. The white, at 6 months. That's minimum. Can't be less than 6 months. The ma'iz, the goats, the black one, minimum is 1 year. The cows and the camels is 2 years. For less than 2 years, even it's meaty, it's not allowed. I'll just remember something now. We had made an udhiyah in 1 year. I can't remember, it's about 10 years or more than that, in a garage. So we brought the animals. We came to the garage. We locked up the garage on ourselves. And we had 7 sheep inside the van. We brought them. The person who is the driver of the van, okay, he had basically purchased one, and he said it doesn't matter, I could take it as a meat if it's not an udhiyah. So I don't think I remember, we draw lots who's going to belong to, because we bought them, which one is this one bigger, one fat, and each one wanted to go for the big one. SubhanAllah. So I made numbers for them, and I each one, brother, which number you want, number 2, so we give them number 2. Each one ended up with a sheep of his, the last one, which was the small one. Looking at it, I don't know, it looks like it's not going to be big enough. It's not talking about weight, it's talking about young age. But I didn't know, I'm not a shepherd. On those days, there was still, we had emo work, sorry, not emo, it was a Skype with an image, Skype with image. So we made Skype, because in the garage there's internet and all of that. We made Skype. So I shepherded my friend of mine. So I said to him, this white sheep we got, we don't know, this is, we don't have a birth certificate for it. So is it fit enough or not? So he looked at it, he said to me, no. I said, how, He said to me, Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he says that this sheep, you look at it, if the wool is pointed end, mabroom, that means 6 months or less. If the suf is mashat, okay, toned on the side, then it's more than 6 months. SubhanAllah, I didn't know that. Something I've learned on that day. If you've seen the sheep, so the wool is like pointed ends. It's been groups like this, that's young. It's not fit. But if it's combed, the wool is combed on the side like that, okay, that means it is above 6 months. Alhamdulillah, I've learned that. So the guy who was the driver took that one for him as a barbecue meat for himself. Now, you're not allowed to make udhiyah in the following: the blind, or even blind you can't see, or even something which is clear. I'm not going to go and take it to the eye test, Specsavers or something like this. Blind is blind, it means proper blind, you can't see, or one-eyed. I'm not allowed to use as well the cripple, the one who limps, and the limping is seen. I cannot see take the one which is ill, too bony. I cannot, al-ashfa, I cannot take them as well, the one which is, it's got a mental illness that she cannot distinguish between good food and not good food. Al-ashfa allati la tunqi. Like you remember the cow disease, say CJD or something? CJD or something. So we're not allowed to have that. As for the teeth, no problem. You don't have to take it to the dentist. Even if the teeth are broken, it's no problem. As for the horns, scholars are different, but it doesn't matter whether the horns has been broken completely or half of it. Some of them, the horns have been taken out. The best, of course, to have it with horns. As for the ears, because it's, it affects the meat. Ears up to the third, because sometimes they cut them for what? For marking, to mark a sheep. But more than a third, you cannot make udhiyah with it. So that's what I'm saying. The person who's going to make the udhiyah, he has to be trustworthy. And he himself, when he goes to the abattoirs, he has to know what he's making the udhiyah with. So the best thing for you is to make the udhiyah yourself, either to slaughter yourself or to witness it with your own eyes, not to let someone whom you don't know what he's going to do with it. Is it compulsory to me to make an udhiyah here, or can I make it in other countries? I will never dare to say that if you did an udhiyah outside your country, it's not going to be accepted. This is going to be something very strong to say. But scholars, they differed. Some scholars, they said, eating from your udhiyah is a must. To eat from your udhiyah. Some, they said, no, it is recommended, not a must. And if you want to send it to the people who are in need, I would suggest maybe make one here and make in that country, if you wish. So send one to the country and one here. Because you need as well to teach your children, your family. We are so sort of being put in the dark regarding the udhiyah. They don't know udhiyah except in the books. Yeah, the udhiyah, the age. They don't know. We're talking about something what? Aliens. They don't know anything. But when you take your children, your family with you, and I do, to see it with your own eyes and slaughtering, they will know. They will never be vegetarians, inshallah. So you teach them. You teach the children, you teach your family. This is the slaughtering. I know it's hard to get the slaughtering yourself, but start. What time is the Isha? So we're going to stop here, inshallah. So we ask you, inshallah, to make sure that tomorrow you implement the fast. And with those as well who cut their nails, don't worry. You didn't know about it. Abstain from today. Don't cut it until your udhiyah is slaughtered. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى لي ولكم المغفرة وأسأله سبحانه وتعالى أن يكتب لنا الأجر العظيم في هذه الأيام العظيمة وأسأله سبحانه وتعالى أن يميتنا على لا إله إلا الله جزاكم الله خير.